Hi guys, we have more people joining. You can drop in the chat where you're joining from if you'd like to. Hello again. You can drop your countries, guys, where you're joining from, just to get some action going. We have Turkey, UK. I think we had two from Turkey. India, nice. Germany, very good. I'm very close to Germany right now. I apologize for the coughing again, guys. I'm so sorry. I just got sick. It's almost time. UK again. Nice, welcome. So it's almost 6. I will try not to take much of your time. I'll try to make it uh, short and sweet. And yeah, Nigeria. Okay. So we'll talk about vibe coding and AI coding and POCs and MVPs. Um, and yeah, we'll talk about the gaps, understanding of differences. We'll talk about 6 steps of um, production or how it should look like. And let me start with a short introduction. Um, so I'm Mina Marcos. I'm the product development advisor at DVB Software. And to make it very quick, I started this career almost 7 years ago from a very, very start. So I didn't count the 2 years here where I was working as lead generation specialist. I worked as sales assistant or sales department representative to sales manager to product development to business development manager and now to product development advisor. I work with the DBB software for over 2 years, and we help startups, as you see here, some examples: Play, SafeMod, Renovate, Choo. Choo is in the UK. For the guys from the UK, you can just open your mobile phone and just search Choo train tickets. You can buy already your train tickets using Choo. And yeah, we will discuss today the AI tools. So I also want you to drop in the chat if you ever built something using AI, drop in the chat which tools you used, Lovable or just a combination of Visual Code, for example, and ChatGPT or something else. If you ever built something, just shoot in the chat. We'll take some notes. Also, maybe we can take the next topic of the webinar from that. And please, if you had any challenges, you can just also put it there. How did you come those challenges? Come over overcome, sorry. And in case that you have something that you're still struggling with, you can also shoot it now right in the chat. What challenges are you facing and how you're trying to solve them? And yeah, we'll take it from there. Also, in the end, we'll have some time for questions. You can ask later. I see some people using Gemini, Cloud, Codex, and yeah, very nice. Crosshair also is very popular right now. Bubble. Amazing. Oh, okay, very nice. There will be time for questions. I'll try to keep it at the end of the webinar and we'll answer a few questions. I'll also try to make it very, let's say, casual for informal. I don't want to sound boring. So I think let's get it started. It's already 2 minutes. So what we have, the first thing we have, it's what we learned today, which I already said, but let's just go through it one more time. First of all, I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing AI or people who use AI to build something. AI, it's a very powerful tool. We encourage people to do that actually, to go out there and try and build something. So we are not competing with AI. We're actually encouraging people to use AI. We are using AI ourselves. Everybody does today. So the only thing that we are discussing today is why AI is not ready for real users. And that's fine as it's written here. That's totally okay. We'll just understand why it is not ready. And I will give you some terminology, some examples from real clients that I talked to. the six gaps between it works and it works at what scale. That's what we discussed a few moments ago. That I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that it is not exactly what we want, or it's not the final stage. We can add a layer to that. Excuse me. So what production ready path actually looks like. So those are the things that we need to consider if we want to go with that to market. And I will give you a very short story about that that helps you understand and how to get clarity before you commit to a rebuild. This is also something that many people face nowadays. Many clients come to talk to me about this, that they built something and right now they are rebuilding it. And there will be some numbers there just for reference, so it's nothing uh, to make you concerned. I will move a little bit faster, and when we get to important points, it will be a little bit slower and we will discuss things. I will try to keep an eye at the chat as well, but that's a little bit difficult to do both of them at the same time. So, when we build something real, it takes vision, and vision, it is not only asking ChatGPT or asking Claude or some AI tool and tell them, like, listen, I want to do that. Everything needs planning. And while AI is a great tool to help us do something fast, it's not always about who does it first. I think it's about planning, it's about structure, and who can do it until the end and actually scale it. Because I can be the first one somewhere, but it's very easy to collapse, very easy to lose my place. And we saw that with many companies, very famous ones like Yahoo, for example, or other companies. Um, so when we build a POC and we want to go to an MVP, we want to go to a full release product, that's something that really needs planning. And we'll discuss about this, that we need to have vision earlier on. Um, Something that very, very important to discuss, that the people who go out there, they open some tools and they build something, those are 10% of the people. Those are the high class. I am one of the other 90%. I'll tell you a very short story. I do social dancing. I dance salsa and bachata. And a few years ago, I thought about, like, I need to build an application where I'm in a different city. I just want to go dance and I can open the app, find some nearby um, event or a dancing night. A few years ago, I was in Ljubljana, Slovenia, and I couldn't find something. And then I think there is some voice. Yeah, sorry, let me mute those people. I'm so sorry. Yeah, for some reason. Okay. For some reason, some people are not muted. Actually, that should be in the setting already. But anyway, uh, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I was in Ljubljana, Slovenia, wanted to dance, couldn't dance, and I'm just calling my friend who's a salsa teacher, just asking him, maybe he knows somebody around, and he told me, like, you don't know the application. And there was an application there already to find nearby events posted by organizers or some DJs or nightclubs or Latin bars. And my idea was already there. So I was too late to build the application, or let's say too lazy, to be honest. So people who go out there and build something, you're already doing more than 90% of the people do. You already have an idea, you're trying to make it a proof of concept and give people something to try, something real to try. So you passed this one. What's next? We're not saying that it's bad that it's AI. No, I'm saying that there is another layer to add to that. So you have something solid for a proof of concept, but it's not exactly the same as MVP. And that's the next step, the next slide. So here is the truth. That's this is just a reference number. So let me just be clear before I discuss this slide. The middle third will change a lot depending on the project complexity. Who are you targeting? What kind of project it is, and the idea itself. So it might be a proof of concept can be between 0 and 0.3. It can be between 0 zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.7 even sometimes. So you can actually build something with AI that it's very, very advanced, but you still need this 30%, 20%, even if it's 10%. And we'll talk about this later. But for this specific um, example, let's say, it will be about 30 to 70%. And I want to explain for you just a very, very quick example. Again, I'm not trying to be boring, but I'm trying to give you some examples easy to understand. I just moved recently to Poland. I was very unsure about this idea. Krakow, Poland. I am a person who likes beaches, who like summertime and tropical weather. And without trying to live in the city, I wouldn't move there. So I just thought of renting a small place. It's 50 meters apartment, 50 square meters apartment. I moved there a couple of months ago, even less than a couple of months ago. And this is in my opinion, in my case, it's the proof of concept. Can I actually live in this city? Which is actually nice, a very good infrastructure for transportation, very clean, very safe. So I started to like it. But now let's think about scaling. Can I go from this proof of concept to actually build a family? Idea theoretically, yes, but can I leave me and my family in this 50 square meters? Actually, even if I want to take a dog, it will change everything. So, not just building a family, but it needs planning, it needs something more than just that. So, proof of concept, it answers the question, does it work? But the MVP and scaling and getting to the next phase, it answers the question, at what scale, at what um, size, let's say. So I can live in Krakow, Poland. Now it seems fine for me. But if I decide to have a family tomorrow, or like in one night, I just decided I saw a cute puppy on the street, I want to take it. I cannot do that because everything will change inside the apartment. Spaces will be divided. I need to have different routine and so on and so forth. And I cannot even build even a small wall because it's not my apartment, it's a lease apartment, it's rented. So think of this way. The POC just proves the idea, answer the question, does it work? And an MVP gives you more answers to for whom, how many people, and how exactly. Yeah, you can save the questions and just write them down on a note or something and shoot them later. Let me move to the next slide, which, as I told you, just numbers for reference. So don't be scared, don't be alarmed, just be, let's say, strategic. So, okay, now I panic. Oh, like what? I want a family, I want a dog, and so on. No, I just proved my idea that I like the city. I can live in a city without sea, not exactly the tropical weather in Krakow or in Poland. But yeah, I just need some planning. I'm not alone. I'm not the only person in Poland who wants to have this beautiful weather and sun and so on. So as you see some numbers here, 20% of the people or startups, they use 95%, maybe a little bit less, those numbers just for reference, generated code base. But can we move this code base all the way when we want to go to MVP? Not really. So think about again the apartment. Does it feel like home? Yes, I put some candles there, some accessories there, decoration, carpets, rugs, and so on. It feels like home. But I cannot change the structure of the apartment, but I can take those things when I move to a bigger place. So I can use the proof of concept, the POC, as a starting point that exactly tells me how I want my apartment to look like, or at least what district, and so on and so forth. Yes, and then we move to the higher or like the bigger or next level. As you see, of course, 8,000 startups face partial or full rebuilds. Here I have a real story that I talked to a client recently, lead, let's say he's not a client yet, and he built something with Lovable. And he told me that he spent 80 hours on Lovable, that he has a product that works perfect, very nice, and so on. And then he decided to make it an MVP. And he hired one freelance developer from Upwork. And the guy worked for almost a month, billing him hourly, and then nothing worked. And he said, like, how come you are a developer and you cannot build something that I build in 80 hours? It's actually it's a legitimate question, but the thing is, you build it and you didn't ask yourself in the beginning for whom, how many people, who are your users, what are your peak hours, So it worked well when it was only you with a good internet, sitting at your laptop and so on. Everything is fine. But then he's trying to build something for you, not only for you, I mean, for your project, for 500 users. And not all of them have good internet. Some of them use it 8 in the morning, some of them use it 8 in the evening or whatever. So there is time zone spikes. So without planning, of course, all of this will collapse, or at least you'll have some issues. We'll talk about this in detail when we go to the 6 points or 6 gaps. So those are just numbers for reference. It costs a lot. We'll also talk about the cost in the slide before the last, as far as I remember. So I will just have a look at the chat and I'll continue. I see some comments. Okay, somebody will. Okay, no worries, guys. Let's continue. I hope it's interesting. If it's interesting or boring, just shoot in the chat. I'll not be disappointed. You can just say like, "Oh, Mido, you're boring." Okay, POC and MVP as we discussed earlier. This one it's exactly for the comparison. So the POC, and again, I want to say that AI can build MVP in some cases. I'm not saying no. You can actually do it, but it will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of money. It will take very, very comprehensive planning. If you don't know what you are doing, you will hit a rock at some point. Yes? So while POC demonstrates the idea that it works, so the core idea, it solves the core problem, gets you some investment, or it gives you some enthusiastic stakeholders or some users or whatever. It is all held together by some iterations and tries and so on, but it's at a small scale, as we explained, and I will give you a very good story later about the good scale, same as the apartment story. While the MVP, it's a little bit different because it handles real sessions, real users, not only built for you and 5 of your friends and a couple of people testing, and you're just showing it at home when you have some guest over, but you actually give it to users and they can start trying and they can start clicking and playing. And you know that sometimes we just like to do all the things like that all the time. And here where things not suddenly crash, but it will start slowing down and at some point it will crash. This is the difference between something that is planned well, structured well, there is a proper architecture, and the difference between a POC where you just have the core idea. Let's just think of I open Lovable and tell it like, okay, put those 20 boxes into that warehouse. It will happen. It will just put those 20 boxes into this warehouse. And it's easy to find those boxes because there are 20. But then with time, if you want to scale, the 20 boxes will be 200, they'll be 2000, and you're just putting them on the top of each other to be very difficult to find things inside. And the longer the time, the more difficult it gets. And then if you're trying to rearrange all of that, you might need at some point to take out all of these boxes, empty the room, and structure it from the top. This is the rebuild. Think of it this way. Yeah. So you have here a core problem, but here you have extras, but not just extras. They are actually important things. Permissions, error handling, notifications. Those are the things that people care about. So I will say something here that is really important. People don't leave your main idea because it's bad. They leave it because they lose trust or there is a fragile or unpleasant experience because just somebody opened that for the first time and it crashes. Maybe at this moment it crashed and just you lost this person because first impressions last. Yeah. And the last one about security, this is very important. If you talk about security, it is not a feature that you add to something. It is actually a responsibility. So think of the house one more time. If we are building a house and you just have like some exposed wires, the plumbing system is just going behind the bedroom and so on. Everything from the face of it, it's working. But imagine that actual people will move into this apartment or in this building, and things will start getting messy when you have 500 people waiting at the elevator 8 in the morning. They want to go to their work. But it was working in the beginning, yes, because it was only you waiting at the elevator. It was only you in this building and trying to invite people inside. So the security and legal requirements, it's really, really serious thing. While AI can do it, it is still kind of breach because AI actually breaches your data. And we'll talk about this in the next slide. Let me real quick go to the chat. Do we have anything? No? Okay. Um, nobody wrote interesting or boring or anything. Is it boring, interesting? I want to read a couple of comments. No comments. I think people are not even at their screens. Okay. Marcan is clapping for me. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Mauro. Thank you very much, Maxime. Okay. Let's continue, guys. Um, so now we discussed or compared the POC and the MVP. Let's go to the things that are really important. So things separating you from production. And I cannot stress how important that is for many clients that they come to us and they talk to me and they start telling me like, oh, I worked in this, I worked in that, and right now I cannot go anywhere, or I hired somebody taking a lot of money and cannot even create the same POC that I created. And here is what we need to understand, or anybody needs to understand for founders that they are not very tech savvy, or for founders that are um, not worried much about getting involved, but they want things done. So I will try to go through those things in detail. So we'll spend some time on this slide. I promise I'll finish before 6:30 so that I don't take much of your time. But let's talk about user load and how important it is. As I said earlier, it is not bad code that makes it fail. AI writes very good code if you give them the right prompts, of course. But the thing is, it's the wrong assumptions. We will take the apartment story as an example for the whole 6 points. So you're just imagine that you are building a house or a building mock-up with AI, using AI, just house show. And you tell the AI, do this, do that, the colors, the walls, the elevator, and so on, and so the plumbing. And it does everything, but it just does it as you say, and it adds to it. Yeah. But we need to understand how, like, what is the user load and user end load. This is really important. Who will use it? How many people? How often? Under what conditions? What circumstances? We will take the elevator again as an example. If I'm one person in a building, the one that I built just to show to people and tell them, oh, look at the building I built. If I'm building it as a POC or using AI, things look very nice from outside. Now you show it to everybody, and suddenly you have like 500 people wanna move into this building. And then the first week you wake up in the morning, wanna go to your work, and you find 500 people standing in front of the elevator. They cannot go to their work in time. Why? Because you didn't think about that earlier. You build the POC for yourself and to show it to a couple of friends. But boom, you have like skyrocketing demand and you have more users. If you didn't plan this in advance, how many elevators, which one should have the priority when somebody press the button, and so on and so forth, you really have an issue. Same with electricity. You had electricity or plumbing system, everything looks nice in place, but what if your neighbor from the sixth floor decided to change the bedroom decoration and he wants to knock down one wall and do something, and behind this wall there are some cables, some wires? The whole building will be in danger. And now we are also discussing security points. If you think about it, yes, it's actual danger. People will die, like with electricity or some gas pressure and so on. This is the first point. So we need to know what is your peak hours. We need to know who uses your product. We need to understand when do they use that, on what internet, for example. If I use this product on Wi-Fi, is it the same when I use it from mobile network? Of course not. We as humans also like to do things very quickly, touch everything. All of these things happen. If we don't know how we handle that in advance, it's a problem. And here we go to the architecture point. Please keep your notes on a side if you want to, if you have any, and we will talk about them. The architecture, that's the AI cannot do yet. They can, like AI can write it for you, but when you actually make a code, it's not exactly the same. So AI writes functions, but engineers, they design systems. So that house show that I wanted to show to my friends and everybody to move in. I built it with AI, it looks very nice. But if I actually had a construction engineer and decoration engineer and electrician engineer, and I had everybody that really knows their craft, and they planned everything with the AI, they can go back and forth to reach the perfect planning, the perfect architecture. Yes, you have best practices, standards for security, for code base, for whatever, guidelines for maintainability. What if I wanted, after 10 years, to have this building, and instead of just 10 stories, to have a couple of 2 stories more? Or whatever, build a swimming pool in front of it. If I don't have a garden, I don't have a place for the swimming pool. So all those things come from the engineers. Does it make sense? I hope so. So we go to the data model. This one is a little bit difficult to understand for people who are not really um, tech savvy, but let's think about the Messi schema and what will happen in the future. It will be future slowdown. People will hate this experience waiting for the elevator, having some water running behind their bedroom or some exposed wires, and they will start leaving this building looking for another one. Not because it's bad building, actually it looks very nice and everything, but just because we didn't count for them and for how they use. So the infrastructure, it's about deployment, not just when something bad happens, they come to you and they tell you, sorry, we have problem with electricity. Or, oh, sorry, I forgot my door, I forgot my spare key outside and I locked the door. So all of these are security also issues that you do not need to wait for the users to report them. You should actually figure them out before they come to you and fix them. That's also for infrastructure and how easy it is to in real world to address those points. The same when we go to the security and compliance, as I said, it is not kind of a feature that you add to a product, but it's responsibility. You're responsible for those people who are living in your building. So data breach, payments. Also, you need to compliance with the those. Just as an example, GDPR, HIPAA, and so on and so forth. AI, when it's building the POC, it's already a breach because it has access to your data. So all of these things need to be stored safely. You need to think about them, um, how to handle them, and where to store them, and so on and so forth. So weak authorization, weak password. What else? Think of them again. Examples, as I said, somebody just locked the door and forgot the key inside, or somebody didn't even lock the main gate or the main door well enough. There are no enough security cameras. All of these things, just as an example or like analogy for how security is important. AI can write security, but cannot really, at least not yet, orchestrate how those things work and how to address them in time. That's very important also because in time, I highlight this very important. We cannot wait for the users to come to us and say, oh, your product has a problem. You need to be monitoring, which means that you see things, and once something happens, you're the first one to know, not your user telling you about. AI will not do this for you. You need real engineer to do that for you, and you need protocol in place to do that. Does it make sense? I hope so. Engineering and foundation. Uh, so I guess here to make it easier, it is there is a demo that can survive things and can show you something. But engineering foundation, as I mentioned, when you call those people who know their craft, to have staging so they can try things and they can test things. What if we do that? What if we do this? What if we leave all the doors open? Will we have some kind of alert? Will the system let us know that the doors are open? What if somebody, for example, forgot the water running and so on and so forth? Those are tests and CI and CD monitoring, staging. Without those things, let's say that you don't have engineering foundation, you know what is your testing, your testing scene or your testing environment? It's your actual product. You just give your product to users to test it for you. And tell me who will be happy with all of those issues. So I don't think many people, maybe a few of your friends, they will come back and tell you, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. But real users, they will just uninstall the app or just leave the product. Not because the idea is bad, one more time, the core idea is great. That's why you actually attracted the 500 people who wanted to live in the apartment or in the building. But it's just because of lack of this 30% left. As I mentioned earlier, if you build a POC, 70% of the idea is there. The lack of this 30% will be the problem or the gap that will make people say like, no, this is not safe enough for me and my family, or this is not what I was looking for. So those are things that we need to keep in mind. The last point, and I'm almost 6:30, so I'm trying to keep in time. The product readiness. So whatever you build, I will go back to this slide. Whatever you build should be here. Yeah, from zero to point 0.3 or 0.4 or 0.7, whatever, even to 0.9. The 10% left, it's here. It's product readiness. And it's when you have some, excuse me, somebody who can user onboarding, can go to people apartments and tell them like, you need to be aware of where is the spare key. You need to check all your lights and all your faucets or like water running, and somebody to actually onboard users and educate them. The AI will not do this for you. It will take you somewhere, which is very nice, but it cannot put or add the last layer for to connect all of this together. SEO optimization, you can use AI tools to do that, but AI will not do it for you. Accessibility, this is something that also you need to be thinking about and keeping in mind. AI can give you guidelines, but it will not execute it in a perfect manner. But engineers know that. They know where to run the wheelchair um, slope or how where to put this, where to put that, and so on. And staff training, this is also very important. When you have somebody that you want to take over or come joining you, the AI will not do this for you. It will give you the product and good luck, but the engineers will do this for you. I hope I didn't take much time on this slide, but it's really important. I think this is exactly the part that we needed to discuss today. I will go to the last couple of slides there. I think there is only one left, but I will go real quick. So the cost of waiting, it's a very straightforward slide, a chart. So things earlier, you can fix them easier, cheaper. The farther you go, think of the 20 boxes that became 2000 boxes. The, it is this way. When it's just a prototype, you can still change and play and remove that and remove this. Nobody sees it. It's only you and your friend. You go to development. Now some engineers can give you some advice. You can change this piece of code. You can do some edits on the design side, UI, UX, and so on and so forth. Still not that expensive. You're actually paying money to those people who are developing, but it's still, it is, you don't have to pause anything. They are not users in our example or in our story. Those are the tenants. Nobody is complaining, so you're not losing money on fixing damages. You're just building, let's say this way. MVP launch, here things will start to become a little bit more difficult and more expensive because there are actual users who have access to the application. So every time you're trying to do something or edit something, you'll need to pause a little bit to release this update or to launch this patch and or security patch and so on and so forth. Post-launch and scale, the last one, as you see, it's a high spike because every time you need to do something, you will ask all your tenants to leave the building so that you fix the water issue or that you replace the door lock or change the electricity system because there are a lot of exposed wires and so on and so forth. So as easy as that, it does not about the faster we do it or where to get that fast. It's about to do something and to take it to the finish line. Not just like say, oh, I built this house mock-up and that's it. Nobody can live in a house that you just like imagined. You need to have an environment for that. I think that makes like perfect sense in our story, at least I hope so. So if you think about this, what teams face when they wait too long, emergency refactoring, cloud cost spikes from inefficient architecture. This is exactly what I meant by pausing a product to scale it. And then you need to add servers and so on. And scaling is not about adding servers. Scaling is not about adding servers or having more users. Scaling about, in my opinion, it's about reducing chaos. It's about having less complaints from users. At least that's how I look at it. Because what is the benefit of adding servers and having more user base if they're complaining every day? No? So yeah, delay, scale, momentum. This is also same story. If you're having people coming to you all the time, want to have to rent an apartment or they want to move in and so on, you cannot tell them, okay, just wait a couple of days because we have a problem to fix. They already go and find another place. No? So I guess in a nutshell, that's the whole thing. Um, I mean, regarding the story. And now the slide here will just give you an understanding of how production should look like, which is, let's say, the perfect scenario that we have an assessment. And for this assessment, we need to have a look at what you have, kind of audit, how you imagine the UI, UX, and we need to have um, discovery sessions. So this is all part of the discovery. After we do all of that, we go to the next phase, which is really, really important. AI cannot do this for you. Solution design and architecture. It can, so excuse me, maybe I used the wrong word. It cannot do it to you the same way that you have an engineering team that's relying on AI. But to rely completely on AI, at least we are not at that moment yet in our time. Maybe after 10 years, maybe 2030 or so, we can do that. um, but you need somebody who really knows their craft, and they are using AI to do that. But if you just rely on AI telling them or feeding it some prompts, it will do whatever you ask them to do, and they will write for you those documents and so on. And believe me, many clients came to me and they say like, I have a scope document and I know exactly what I want. And I say, okay, please show me your scope document. And then I have like a ChatGPT written text, 23 pages, 64 pages. And I just go through them with a tech lead or with a technical team, and they say like it just doesn't make any sense. It's just like talks and talks and talks, but there are no technical tasks. There is no charts of infrastructure or kind of architect to the solution. We don't see what is the back end should look like, what kind of APIs we are connecting to. Also, we get back again to who's using that at what time and at what capacity. And here is the clarity that we need to get before we go to the development. And this is the roadmap. You have clear understanding of the solution design. You have a prioritized risk map. You understand what are the must have and should have and nice to have. And you also prioritize those things according to your budget, to your timeline, to your user, or like ICP and so on. You have the scope document, which is the roadmap or SDD, software design document, and then you can take it from there. You know exactly where the wires will be. They will be covered. They cannot run underwater. Um, you have not just one spare key, but you have a couple of them. You have camera security everywhere around the building. I'm just giving you those terminologies or those examples for easier understanding, because also I'm not the best tech guy that you can talk to. But if you would like to talk to somebody technical and you have something that you built and you want to take it from there, you are more than happy to schedule a call with us. I will take with me on the call our tech lead, one of our tech leads, and we can talk technical. Not we, you'll talk technical. I don't talk technical. So yeah, alignment between business and engineering. This is also a very good example here. I had somebody coming to me. They're from Egypt. I'm originally from Egypt. And just for your information, we don't really have right now many people using Apple phone in Egypt, because in Egypt, we just applied a new tariff and you need to pay a lot of taxation for the iPhone. So many people don't, not many people, like almost less than 10% of the population use iPhones. And somebody came to us and said, like, I want just to build payment with iPhone. I said, for whom? Where is the business idea? And then I said, like, who will pay? You have 10% of your population use iPhone. So why do you want to use Apple Pay? Maybe we should target Apple, or like, Google Play, or like Google Pay, because it's more people using Android. And then he thought like, but we still don't have payment with Google Pay. I said, so we can use this Stripe. You just put the card number and CCV, and it's easier for everyone to pay. So, makes sense. So yeah, you need also alignment between business and engineering. So the business idea, where you're having this business, to whom, and ICP, this is also very important. So yeah, I guess that's all. You can scan the code here if you want to book a discovery call with us. Um, we can walk through what you have, what you want to build, what challenges you have. We'll just ask in advance a little bit more of information because we schedule a call. Yeah, we have also prepared a very detailed document of what I just went through, for people who want to learn more, maybe also get some material from the webinar today. If you want access to this document, or if you want it to be sent to you, please just drop plus in the chat. And yeah, technical. Oh, too late. I'm sorry. It's already 6 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the chat, Mark. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I will I will just display this for a second if anybody wants to scan the QR code. And yeah, thank you very much. Please, if you have any questions, shoot in the chat. I'll try to answer as many as possible right now. If not, we can always schedule a call. We don't have that many people right now. We have only 17. So yeah, if any questions, please drop them in the chat. If not, then I'm very happy. Somebody asked Maxime, in your experience, can a POC realistically serve? 100%, 100%. The first part of the chat, of the question, many people come to us with an idea and they say, as I just said earlier, I know what I want, but you don't have documentation, you don't have design, you don't have anything. He said, yeah, but I have it in my mind. Yeah, but how can I read your mind? So we need something to look at. When you have a POC, you open an AI tool, you build something that I can actually interact with. I can, with my phone, I can see at least colors and how many screens, where are the buttons, and what it serves, like what is the core problem that you're solving, and so on and so forth. This is significantly important than just going through a scope document. However, also I would like to remind you that we work on a scope document at a fixed price, $777. This is just an um, symbolic number. It's just promotion number. So it doesn't reflect the value that you get from a scope document, because it gives you a roadmap to your product. However, if you have time, you can pay some money to Claude or to some AI tools to build a POC that serves as a scope document very well. Not exactly as a scope document, so it doesn't cancel the scope document, but it helps a lot taking it from there. I can look at it, break it down into technical tasks, have some design visuals, so I can just give it to the designer and tell them like, guys, I want exactly like this. You have the branding colors, the buttons, the animations, and so on and so forth. So yeah, answering your question would be perfect. it's not just a temporary prototype. No, you can actually, as I said earlier in my example, you can take even some things from that. You can take, as I said in my apartment example, I can take the candles, the lights, the small decorations that I bought, the carpets and rugs. Maybe not all of them will be the exact size of the new apartment, but I can somehow use them. So yeah. Is there any other question? No, there are no other questions. So yeah, you have the link there. You can book your call there. Maxime, thank you very much for being attentive and listening and for your question. Pila, thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed and I hope it wasn't boring or too long. It's already 43 minutes, so I apologize. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, goodbye. Thank you.